Hey y'all guys, it's the Tavin Dillard podcast. I'm Tavin Dillard, welcome. I'm a mowing, edging, grass cutting legend, no big deal. Summertime's pretty hot out there, sweating a lot, drinking a lot of water, some sweet tea. I ain't mad when Millie Ricks has a super soaker as long as it's full of water and not sweet tea. That's a horrible idea, but she thinks it's funny. Millie Ricks, original prankster. You know who else is original pranksters? Old Dewey Morton down at the old nursing home where my gal Cricket works. He down there, he either trying to escape or just trying to, puzzle them employees. Like, what in the world is this shoe doing glued to the front door of somebody's room or whatever? Like, Dewey, I don't know, there ain't no rhyme or reason other than he liked to snicker a lot, boy, and he giggle at all kind of things down there. Doreen Fundle doing pretty good this summer. You know, she got that Goldfish Captain Thunder boots. She wanted to give him a swimsuit, and they finally talked her out of that. Said he ain't got no legs. He don't need no sweat breeches or swim breeches. He live in the water. You know, he a fish. That's where he belong. So she okay with that, but they let her decorate it. There's a little beach ball thing she could put in. It wasn't a real beach ball. It wasn't inflated with air like, you blowed up a beach ball, and truth be told, that beach ball bigger than her goldfish bowl, but it's like a little decoration. I ain't a fishologist. I didn't go to school for fishes, but I can tell you right now, I don't think that Captain Thunderboots care nothing about that beach ball at the bottom of his goldfish bowl. But, it's summer times and people are hitting the city poo, doing cannonballs, yours truly, watermelon helmets. How was your 4th of July? Did y'all have a good 4th of July where you was? You having a good July already? I mean, we have turned the calendar page, head first into July's now. If you're listening to this podcast on the day it comes out, that's the July the 11th. And so it's going pretty good. In just 11 more days, that's quick math right there. But on July 22, I'm going to be in Newkirk, Oklahoma. I got a live show. It's the only live show I got lined up the rest of the year right now. Folks like, when you coming to my state, my city, my village, my township, or whatever kind of thing. It's like, well, there's a few things that happen, to get me there. So if you got a venue and a way to get me there, holler at me. My email's in the show notes, tabandillard@gmail.com. But Newkirk, Oklahoma, here's the details on that show. K County Amphitheater. That's in the middle of town. It's outdoors. We doing the show at 8:30 at night, so it's going to be a little cooler. We talking about July in Oklahoma, so it ain't going to be cool. But bring yourself some water or a watermelon helmet. Some folks did that last year. A couple folks, maybe more than that, did. And I'd like you to get there. I think it's going to be a hoot of a time. Of course, I'm going to be there. My show maybe 50 minutes or an hour. I'm going to have some of my shirts there to sell if folks want shirts that you don't want to pay shipping for. I just hand it to you right there, so you ain't got to wait by the mailbox. But I have some merchandise at that show. And anyhow, if you go to, I'll put the link just to the website. It's on the front page of the Tavin Dillard website, like Newkirk, Oklahoma, 8:30 p.m. K County Amphitheater. The show's free. That's the other thing I keep forgetting to tell people. People reaching out like, hey, where can I get tickets? Oh, just show up. That's how we doing this. So just come on over. It's going to be a hoot of a time. So that's, coming up later in July. But right now, we getting into it. And I hope your 4th was good with the fireworks and the picnics and the whatever. Hanging out with everybody. You got a little 4th of July update from me last week on the 4th of July with our parade and our fireworks show and Delma Spencer and all that. Well, the summer keeps trucking right along here. I got updates for you today. There ain't no two ways about that. But I will get into the show notes first, just so we got that all clear. I just gave you my email address, tabandillard@gmail. That's the way to get in touch with me. You got business inquiries. I'll put my website there. And my website, you going out, you'll see right there on the front of the picture with all the info on the live show. But then you'll see the different links for Tavin's Bacon Bag. But I'll put a separate link in the show notes for that today, too. All my merchandise, new shirts coming out. Rachel Christine dropped on July the 1st. That new shirt got Peekaboo. We got a new Peekaboo color coming out, which is more like a dark blue. So we got the rust orange kind of thing, and then a dark blue Peekaboo shirt. It ain't out just yet, but soon. You can always check the link though for the shirts and see what's new there. Thunder Punch tank top. I got on the new 2023 Team Burger Shed shirt. Do have an update for y'all on the podcast today about that, how the game went this week. We've been struggling. We've been struggling. We ain't been, full steam ahead on the wins. we've been heavy on the losses lately. We got one tie this season already, so we 5-4-1. Heading into this last week's game, we ain't had an update for a couple weeks because the 4th of July, but we 5-4-1 heading into this last game. I got an update on how that last game went here in just a little bit, but in our trailer park, Chancellor Park, that's the trailer park I live in. Folks is still firing off fireworks, but the thing about it is my brother Brett showed up this week, and he's firing them off, and they're pretty loud. The thing is, fine, fire off the fireworks, but didn't nobody have no heads up? And there's things that's loose, and there's all kind of things that's loose in the trailer park. I don't mean just stray animals. I mean like things that might have ended up, they started on your porch or they started in your car and they end up over here or over there. Stuff's a little bit scattered. Let's put it like that away. Well, my brother Brett starts firing off some bottle rockets. They ain't loud. The bottle rockets ain't loud. It ain't so much about the noise. He had some other noisemakers. It's just like explosions, But he had a bottle rocket or two that ended up in a tub of gasoline, because you can't control where them things shoot off. I mean, you can try to aim them one way, but truth be told, one way or another, they can end up all kind of places, and a couple end up in a tub of gasoline. I don't know the science behind it, the fireology to it all, but that thing started fired up. I mean, it went up in flames. And so JT Whitlow's there. He'd already got back from our softball game. Like, I wasn't back yet on my bike from town from the softball game. But JT was already there, and his gal Whitney was hanging out. They was all outside, just kind of lawn chairs, sitting on the porch, whatever. And all of a sudden, that tub of gasoline up in flames. Well, JT's mad and scared, and his gal Whitney, and she usually have an air horn on her. You talk about noise. We asked her not to bring them to games anymore, but she had it at JT's, and she fired that off. Like, I don't know if she thought that would stop the fire, or she just wanted to participate and like, hey, I can make noise too. Anyway, or just like a reflex, like, I'm scared, I want to hit the air horn. If she hit that thing off. And then Ricky Don Pearson, he a volunteer firefighter, but he run the laundromat in town. Gilbert Phillips works there now. That's Chlorine Phillips' boy. But anyhow, Ricky Don runs Sutter Me Up, which is the laundromat. But he's driving by. He got a F-250, pickup. And volunteer firefighters, what I'm saying, though, that's the thing that matters in this story. And he driving by and he see that fire and he hop out. Well, Whitney done runned over there with half a can of Mountain Dew, tried to douse that thing, and then Ricky Don got a hold of a garden hose, kind of thing, and he get to work on that, and eventually he get that thing under control. Them gasoline fires are different though. They harder to put out or whatever. Like you throw a blanket over it, and I guess that help a little more than the water, but don't matter. Like, I wasn't there by the time I got back to the trailer park from the softball fields. I went to the burger shed first. I mean, that's partly why I ain't the slow. It's not like I'm a real slow rider, like I only go 1 mile an hour on my bicycle. It's just because I went other places. I wasn't thinking like, oh, softball game's over, let me go straight back home because there's probably going to be a fire to put out from my brother and his fireworks. Like, that wasn't on my radar, as they say in Spain. So I did not know about that, but I get back in there and you still got smoke, and then you got Whitney there, and she got a little ash on her face, and she all tuckered out, and she's kind of sad. And JT, he done got mad, at my brother Brett, because he was there and he started a fire. He don't even live there. He wasn't like, hey everybody, let's shoot fireworks tonight, and then we can do some safety protocol and have that in place before we start firing them off. No, Brett just showed up like a loose cannon and firing off like the same thing. So JT was mad. He started a fight. I mean, it turned into like a trailer park wrestling match. Well, I come into the trailer park and I see JT and Brett going at it. And JT is a strong old boy, but my Brett's pretty wiry. He built a little bit like me. He's a little taller. And I think I got to stop this. That's my brother. So, I felt responsible. I wasn't like, that's my brother, let me defend him. Let me just be clear. I was like, that's my brother. He probably did something wrong. He deserved whatever whooping he getting, but let me see if I can help out so JT don't have to, get hurt in the process. So I hop in the middle of that, trying to break it up actually, and Brett turned on me. Well, I go legs to toes to head with him and lock him up in the ground game, and he's embarrassed. I was like, buddy, we ain't coming here to do that. And he's hollering and screaming and yelling kind of thing. And for just playing the softball game, my strength was pretty up. But like I said, the reason how come that was, I done had a bacon double cheeseburger, Dr. Pepper. They were right there. I mean, that energy had not been spent yet. It was sitting there on the reserves ready to go. I roll into the trailer park on my bike. My tire hits that gravel. I see the fight between JT Whitlow and my brother Brett, and I'm like, let's go. And I get in the middle of that. I lock him up. Well, my brother Brett, he like a bottle rocket. One minute he's there, the next minute he's gone. But he leave more of a path of destruction than them bottle rockets do. You know what I mean? Like the trouble he caused, and he gone. And so Ricky Don got that fire under control. It was all, just smoking by the time I got there. Meemaw was mad. She's hollering. JT was trying to regroup and calm everybody down. He thought him fighting Brett would be the answer to calm Meemaw down. And we said, well, now that we all here and we out, we might as well. We got enough fireworks left over from 4th of July to take us to New Year's. So it's like, well, we already out here. Let's go, So we started firing them off. Meemaw still had Rachel Christine in her, 4th of July dress holding a little American flag. But she left her in the trailer, which I think was a good call. She didn't bring Rachel Christine out to the fireworks stuff. Meemaw's learning more lessons about how much you really want to move them baby dolls around. She took that baby doll to spring picnic. And that was not good. I mean, you can listen to that. You can go back to the picnic episode on the podcast here in the last couple months or so and hear about Meemaw's baby dolls at the spring picnic. Then she had a camp out. Now, I mean, it was in her living room here recently, but she got s'mores on Rachel Christine's blue camping dress. So, anyhow, all that to say is that the baby dolls stayed inside while we kept celebrating the independence of our country with some fireworks in Chancellor Park this week. JT was there. Ricky Don hung out for a little bit. He had to get uptown, but like I said, Sutter Me Up, Gilbert Phillips was working that night for him, so he go and check in on him, but it wasn't his shift to be there the whole time. And the thing with laundry mats is you ain't got to be there all the time. That's one thing Ricky Don liked it because he's a pretty busy guy. Like I said, he got an F-250, so you want to spend some time in that on a little road tripping or driving around or wherever you're going, or you can do that. JT was there, Whitney was there. She finally ended up going home. Meemaw was there. So we had a little crew out there. Cricket wasn't. She's down to nursing home, probably dealing with Doreen Fundle and wanting to put swim goggles on Captain Thunder boots, which you don't want to do that neither. The thing lives in water. Doreen, like we need goggles and swim trunks because we people. Goldfish was born with everything they need for that water. Okay? Now, if you're going to take it on a hike, yeah, you got to get an oxygen tank and hiking boots. Now that's a different conversation, Doreen. But for that goldfish in his goldfish bowl in your room in the nursing home, he okay. But Cricket's down there handling all that, so she wasn't there. But I do want to tell y'all about the softball games. I mean, not about the party in the trailer park. That's the good thing about it. Ain't that about life? Something seems so bad, like a trailer park fire, and then all of a sudden it turned into a party. Hey, sound like a win to me. But down at the softball fields, like I said, we was on a losing streak. And Brodie Childress, he was late to the game, and you might say, well, that's typical for Brodie, and you'd be right. He late almost every game unless somebody's bringing him. But there's road construction out on the outside of town. What they doing is they paving the road out by the high school, and that actually, that's where Brodie's excuse break down because he don't live out that way. So there ain't no reason for him to go by that construction on the way to the softball game. But Coach Hicks, he got a boxing gym. Coach Hicks. He the head lifeguard at the city pool in town. He wears boots to the swimming pool, and he keeps coffee grounds in his boots because I guess that helps with the stink when you don't wear socks with them. So sometimes he pull his foot out the boots at the swimming pool, and there's coffee grounds on his toes and kind of drag out his boots. So he got to wipe that off before he hop in the pool. And a lot of times he ain't gonna go right in the pool. He goes right up to that lifeguard chair with that whistle on his neck because Coach Hicks will blow the whistle on you. He keep an eagle eye on the pool. Well, Coach Hicks, he run the pool. He's a city lifeguard at the pool there. He also, when I was in high school, he's a PE teacher, and he also ran the Long John Silver in the county next to Ober. So he a businessman. and he opened that gym Thunder Punch. Like I said, Thunder Punch, we got them tank tops now, and we got them regular shirts, and that affected a little bit of his business because they shut down that road that run right by Thunder Punch. Because there's the high school, and then the property not far from that is where Coach Hicks put the boxing gym out there. So anyhow, it did affect folks out there. But there ain't no reason for Brodie Childress to come to that game late saying, oh, there's road construction out there. Well, yeah, that's like me losing a race because I say, oh, Russell Tucker had a leg cramp. Well, that don't affect me running the race, like that away. So anyhow, Brodie was late. Mary Beth Tucker, she would have an excuse because the veterinary's out there on that road, on the outside of town. But she managed to make it to the game on time with 2 baskets of hot butter dinner rolls that's softer than a baby angel's leg that was not and is not and ain't never been on the menu at the concession stand. It's hot dogs, Skittles, snow cones, soda pops. But Mary Beth Tucker deliberately chooses her own menu, and she brings these things, and a lot of times they cause trouble. I ain't saying them angel leg babies, softer than them dinner rolls ain't good. I ain't saying that. Well, I'll tell you more on that in a little bit. I ain't talking about the concession stand yet, but then Russell Tucker, he got us all, we in the dugout before the game, he do a pep talk. Because he we had a little break for the 4th of July, but we's on a losing streak. I mean, we just kind of losing, I don't know, strength or energy or focus or something ain't right, and he give one of them pep talks where you feel like you in one of them sports movies, like you can go conquer the world. He's like, hey guys, hey, this is just some buddies having fun. We just out here just relax. Hey, remember how it was when you just started playing ball? You just loose and free. You see that ball, you see a good pitch, put a good swing on it, kind of thing. Hey, the ball come to you, just back to the basics. Infielders, drop that glove against the ground, make sure you got it so it ain't going between your legs, nothing like that away. Outfielders, look up, catch that ball. Just, hey, back to the basics, and we all kind of nodding our head. Now, Rusty Tidwell, he's shaking his head, not because he disagrees with Russell or he's mad at him or nothing like that, but he just mad that we've been losing. Oh, it frustrates him to no end. He gets so mad about that, so he ready to win. I mean, Rusty Tidwell came with his game face on. So we get in there, and we start just hitting the ball. I mean, we hitting that ball, and we hitting that ball, and all of a sudden, Myron Curtis is hitting the ball, but I noticed on his knuckles is some butter, and I was like, what's going on? He goes, Mary Beth brought a stick of butter. She ran me over a hot butter dinner roll, softer than baby angel's leg, and I just scarfed that down, and he had it right on his knuckle, and boy, he hit a double, and a double for Myron is just about an inside the park homer for anybody else, because it's just rattling around out there forever, but the other boy, by the time he got to it, Myron had motored his way to second base, not Russell. Russell basically the coach, though. He had a good night, too. He had 2 doubles. So we scored some runs. I hit a double in the 5th inning, stole third base. Reason how come is I seen it. I seen third, and I know that the bases ain't got mouths and they don't talk, but I heard it say, get on over here, Tavin, like that away. And I'm like, bank, bank, just kind of sneaking away from the back. Pickle Boone. Hello, third base. Slide and tap. And then I got knocked in by Rusty Tidwell. Well, anyhow, by the end of the game, we pushed across 5 runs. Now, that ain't a lot for the adult softball league, but when the other team only scored 4, hey, that's enough to call it a win. We beat them. We back on our winning ways. So now Team Burger Shed is 6 wins to 4 losses to 1 tie. We ain't tied 4 times. 6 wins, 4 losses, 1 tie. So we feel pretty good. We feel like, okay, well, there's some things we could do better. We should have probably had 9 or 10 runs, but we got 5 in tonight, and we getting back in the swing of things. Them breaks don't help you. The 4th of July don't have, when you guys like us, you ain't spring chickens, you ain't stretching out every day, you ain't getting your haunches stretched like you need to, playing all the time help. So anyways, we getting back in it, and I am stretching out a little more now, truth be told. Free snow cones. I got watermelon. I could have got tangerine because it's my favorite. I got red, white, and blue at the parade last week. I went for the watermelon, and I was not disappointed. Were there any hot butter dinner rolls softer than a baby angel's leg after the game by the time we won and went over there to get our free snow cones? Indeed, there were not. So I'm telling you right now, Mary Beth Tucker, she bringing in the money on that recipe. I mean, them things basically melt in your mouth. The only one that got one was Myron, because she shuffled over to him mid-game or something. And boy, she covered that thing like a cupcake in butter. You know, like you put icing on a cupcake. That's how she do the dinner rolls. Well, truth be told, that's the way you should eat them. Butter on the inside, butter on the outside. Melt in your mouth, slide right down like that away. So it was a good night. I mean, I ain't endorsing Mary Beth Tucker for doing that, but it did work out for her. And them hot butter dinner rolls that's softer than a baby angel's legs, they is good. I ain't saying they bad. Don't hear me saying that. You know what else is good? Team Burger Shed. We 6-4-1. We got a lot of season ahead of us left, but that's where we at. So it was a good day. I mean, we still got some fireworks ahead of us the next several months. We had a good time celebrating the 4th of July. I'm glad you joining me here. You know, this is episode 5 of season 7 of the Tab and Dillard podcast. So we five episodes in. And I know some folks have just found a podcast recently, so you got some catching up to do. You can pause this one, come back when you caught up, or you can just listen here and catch up however you want to. You know, it's a little bit of a buffet. Sometimes you skip the okra, go right to the fried catfish, put a hurting on that, then circle back and say, see what other sides we got. Now I'm ready for the sides. I don't know how you want to do it. However you want to listen to the podcast. Some folks are watching it on the YouTube. It's still on there. You know, right now there's a video of this where me talking and my mouth's moving all that kind of way. But anyhow, no matter how, Spotify contacted me this week. They said, hey, folks, got questions for you over here. I don't know how to find them questions. So all y'all on Spotify, I ain't trying to ignore you. I just don't know how to do that yet. And I ain't taking the time to learn it, and maybe that's my problem. But I appreciate y'all. If you could rate this podcast, if you ain't never rated it on the Apple iTunes, I know you can do it there, and leave me a comment on the Apple iTunes or wherever you listen if they allow them comments. I appreciate that. Helps me. That helps other folks find the podcast, or you can share it with a friend or enemy or mild acquaintance. You can do it that way too. But I hope I can see y'all in about 11 days or so, July 22nd. It's a Saturday night in Newkirk, Oklahoma. You show up, you're liable to see me there because I'm going to be there. And I'll be around after the show. I'm real good at giving high fives. You think I'm joking, show up and find out. And we can get a picture or whatever. I'll have some shirts there. It's going to be a hoot of a time. So if you're around, I'd love to see you in Newkirk, Oklahoma, July 22nd. But if you're not, hey, I'll see you on the interwebs real soon. Check them show notes today for all that stuff. The bacon bag, all the shirts, how to email me. My phone number, you can text me, 501-322-6249. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me here on the Tab and Dillard podcast. That's it for this time. But hey, if you ain't shown up to a trailer park fire with half a can of Mountain Dew and an air horn, you having a pretty good week. Me, I'm Tab and Dillard. This is the Tab and Dillard podcast. Till next time, y'all guys. We'll see you later.